Hey, Video Papa here. We're going to show, make a video on how to construct similar hovercraft to Hovercraft 2.0, but we've got to deconstruct it first, so we're going to go ahead and video that also. First off, we'll get rid of the rope that we're using to tie, to pull the kids with. Should slip right off. And all we did was use half a lock hasp here. Probably something you ought to keep an eye on. If the rope snaps, I guess the kids would go flying. I don't think we're going to knock it all the way down, but we'll get down to the main parts of this thing. Let's see. Here we go. Easy enough. Pull the blower off. You see the blower is just mounted with 3 hose clamps and some angle brackets, and it's just screwed down with Phillips wood screws. Yank those guys out. Not much. Before I get this all the way out, I'm going to pop the battery out and reduce some of the weight. One more. What we did too is the tube doesn't fit exactly into the plumbing fitting. We pull this out of here. It should. It's going to take a little bit. There we go. You notice we just put some duct tape, or that's just actually Gorilla Tape on there to make the seal. All right, nothing to it. Kind of ugly, but it works great. If you look, you can actually look down in here at the plumbing fittings. You want to get a close up in there. Oh, that's great. Now what I did here is we through bolted this with carriage bolts coming up from the bottom to get everything all tied together and rigid, so when the kids are pulling on the leaf blower, it's all tight. It might be. I put some cap style or crown nuts on there so that the kids wouldn't hook themselves on this. Hopefully they'll come out here. There we go. We fought this guy for a minute or two and got it going. That's the downside of using a carriage bolt in wood. They don't actually hold up real well. So we got these kind of loosened up. We're probably going to have to next go all the way around, pull off the tape. Let's back up on that. You notice we got a sheet metal outer carriage or an outer bracket tape. Gorilla Tape's basically just holding this the bumper on. The bumper stops the edges of the plastic from getting torn up when you're pulling the kids around on it. I'm going to try something a little bit different when we put it back together. So let's start pulling the tape off. This is going to be the boring part. And when you look at the underside, really this tape ring, all that's doing is holding this pipe insulation on, which I'm kind of popping off now. That's the only reason it's there. Probably something you have to go through each time you replace the plastic. Which you can get plastic. I haven't actually torn it up so bad that it has to come off yet. I don't know how many dozens of times the kids have ridden it already. But if you get a little tear, I just put a little piece of Gorilla Tape right over the tear. Seems to hold up pretty well. You can actually see this dark ring all the way around. That's that half donut shape that the plastic forms into when you turn the blower on. The bottom's held in place in the center. The outlet holes here. We got that going for us. All right. I got a feeling this is not going to be that easy getting the old Gorilla Tape and everything off. Spoke too soon. They're just tearing the heck out of the plastic here. Gorilla Tape does kind of work well. And if anybody from Gorilla Tape is listening right now, go ahead and send me a couple cases. If the kids saw me doing this, they'd be crying. Alright, so that kind of exposes, you notice how light this thing is too. Kind of exposes a couple things. I got a piece of banding material here. And it looks like maybe that's 1.5 inch banding material. And what we did there is we taped the plastic to this underside, and I put the banding material on here. It's probably overkill to make sure that the tape and the plastic stayed in place. So now I've got to go all the way around, pull all those out. Oh, come on, baby. It's going to be the boring part. I must have done multiple. That's all that is, a little light gauge. This is probably 26 gauge strapping material. And before we actually look at this whole back end here, we were actually having the kids ride it before I put that pipe insulation on there, and it pretty much tore up the back end. So I just hit it with the Gorilla Tape, and that's when we put the insulation on there. And then after that, I think we just have the plastic tape on all the way around. So easy enough. Let's see. Then the center, to create that donut shape in the plastic, we've got a little coffee can lid. Looks like we had curtain clips on it at one time or another. These air outlet holes, you look at them on the back side of them. We set them up before we cut them. We set them, put some Gorilla Tape down so that they wouldn't tear out. Here's the bottom. Here's the whole section here where the leaf blower goes through, blows through. Center section, so we'd have something for the coffee can lid to screw to. And this back section here is just like a giant washer that we can keep the back end of the plywood on the top nice and tight. So it's kind of tight. Take a look in here. We got 2 pieces of sheet metal with a 1/4 inch edge on them, coming all the way around. I think the edge might be a little overkill. I'm not exactly sure if you need this, but I wanted something to protect the edges of the styrofoam. Not just when the kids are riding it, but when you're storing it too. So just attach it with a couple screws up high. That way it would stay out of the way when we're taping down the plastic. All there is to it. No reason to screw the other side, or just take it off like it is. Set it off to the side. And now you can see, I think, pretty plainly, you know, we got two pieces of polystyrene insulation. Just made it together. I actually purchased a circle cutter for the router, and then use it to cut out a circle. I used a 1/2-inch twist bit to cut the circle. It worked just fine, but be forewarned, it is a huge mess. And then mess gets magnified when you start cutting out these, routing out these slots too. And we'll go ahead and we'll start popping this apart so you can see how that's slotted in. All right, I got some Torx washer head screws in here. I don't know if they're deck screws or what, but I got them at the local big box store. They've only grabbed a little bit down in the bottom. And that's why I used the Forstner bit to countersink the heads a little bit. All right, got some more here. Alright, hopefully then this is just going to pick right up. Oh, look at that. So, nothing on the bottom. This is just 3/8 plywood. I bought a 4x4 piece of 3/8 plywood, cut it down. You notice too is it took the router and a mortising bit and then just clean this all out. You can see the edge. And one of the things I did, I thought, now this is already pulled in a little bit. I thought I had all this stuff standing proud. Maybe not so much. I think I did, when I did this fitting, I don't know how easy these are going to come apart. There you go. You can actually see where it's pulled in. When I started these out, I had it standing proud. So tightening that up actually pulled it right down into the polystyrene insulation. So that's new for me. So I guess when you're doing this guy, it probably would be good to stand it proud. Boy, probably at least a 1/16 of an inch, maybe even more. Alright. I'm going to flip it over here. I think the two sides are coming apart. So that's all I did here was cut out a hole with a hole saw, routed out the edge a little bit so it fit relatively flush. So that's the top section. The bottom section, you'll note that this closet fitting fits down inside the other. So one's a slip fit and the other one's a spigot fit. And we'll pull those off in a second and show you. Everything should be falling off right now. There's your bottom. Same thing here. Just freehanded this in. And same thing here, freehanded this guy in. You can see where I actually dug that mortising bit in a few times. So, same thing down here. That's all there is to it. So, that's the end piece, middle piece. And here's the big secret with the fittings. I had a heck of a time with this too. I had to sand them out a little bit. But if you notice the way they go, this one here fits the leaf blower really well. But I wanted something I could tie it all together with. So, that fits in the spigot fit. No, it's the other way around, I think. Anyway, we got that going for us. So there's the deconstruction. That's it. I'm really surprised at this. This pulled in quite a bit. Might want to put something in there to help stop that. Hovercraft 2.0 deconstruction complete.